favorite coffee, McDonald's coffee. And today is Friday, February the 6th. We still don't know who the president's going to be. We don't. Why? There's so much controversy out there with this election. And I'll admit, I've helped with it too a little bit. But at the same time, there's a lot of coincidences going on. Do any of them just totally point to guilt? No. There's just a lot going on. Like, why did Michigan, Wisconsin, and Georgia and Nevada and Pennsylvania, North Carolina all stop counting their ballots at the same time? That's one. Why did I personally witness Wisconsin's vote, where Donald Trump was leading by 70,000 votes, magically have over 100,000 votes come for Joe Biden overnight while we were sleeping? How did that happen? Why does stuff like that happen? I don't know. There could be some statistician out there that says, if you carry the 2 and you multiply by the root of all that, chingadera stuff. But at the end of the day, I think the states right now that we're waiting on, which is Nevada, Georgia, Pennsylvania, South Carolina, and Alaska, I think they're using Common Core math to count these votes. And the memes are winning on this with Nevada, showing how they're counting the votes. But as it goes right now, the only state that Donald Trump could lose and still regain and win his re-election is Alaska, with 3 votes. If he were to lose Nevada, Georgia, North Carolina, or Pennsylvania, any one of those, and I think I said South Carolina earlier, I meant North Carolina, but if he were to lose any one of those, he'd lose his re-election. Then what's going to happen is he's going to challenge, as he's already said he's going to do. He already said that he's going to challenge and have a recount for Michigan, for Arizona. So he's going to spend a lot of money on these other campaigns, on these other states. I could see why he would want to do that. I mean, the president's a big gig. He spends a lot of money. I'm getting email after email after email in my inbox saying that they're doing 1,000% match to help defend the elections. Okay. Now, I know a little bit about the FEC laws when it comes to campaign funds, and this would have to come out of his campaign fund. If I donate $5, he's going to match that to $5,000. Obviously, with that kind of pull, he still has a lot of money left in his campaign fund. If he has that much money left in his campaign fund, why did he lose? I mean, I appreciate some of the stuff that he's done, but why did he lose? He should have spent that money on the actual campaign. If he would have done that, we might not be in this predicament, because right now, as it is, the integrity of the electoral system has just gone shot to hell. It's done. Just like the integrity of the impeachment system. I know that as soon as Joe Biden is pronounced the winner, he is going to challenge, and it's going to be a horrendous challenge, because he has Judge Amy Coney Barrett as a Supreme Court justice who is essentially now a tiebreaker. Hopefully, if he is not guilty, I guess would be a good word, not guilty of trying to fake the results, and he should be actually the winner, hopefully they find him as being the winner. And hopefully, if he actually didn't win and Joe Biden isn't guilty of voter fraud, or the Democratic Party isn't guilty of voter fraud, hopefully they will choose on the side of Biden. Hopefully. That's the whole concept, the whole principle of the Supreme Court is to be neutral. And hopefully they stick with that. The real victims here are us, the people. The electoral system is shot to hell. We can't trust the integrity of it anymore. We can't trust that my vote is going to go out there and it's going to count for something. We can't. Every time I vote now, I feel like it's going to be contested. And though I like what he's done, I have to thank Donald Trump for that. And though I like what he's done policy wise, I do have to thank Donald Trump for jacking up the integrity of the electoral system. Just like I have to thank the Democratic Party for jacking up the integrity of our impeachment system. They're just both, they're done. They're done with. There's a way to come back from that. I don't know how it's going to be, but there's got to be a way to come back from it to fix it. Looking at some of the Senate and the House races, looks like the Republicans is still holding on to the majority by a slim 2 seats. Georgia is looking to gain a seat, the Democratic Party wise. They're in position to do that. Still 48 to 46. Now, mind you, the Republican Party had the most number of seats to defend. Will that change in 2 years when the next Senate elections are, or whenever they are? I don't know. House-wise, we've got 208 houses, 208 so far for the Democratic Party, and 193 seats so far for the Republican Party. That margin has slimmed down a whole lot. It was originally the Republican Party ahead. This was early on in the vote, though. Early. And I was looking hopeful. It is still hopeful. It's just we're still, Republicans can still get a majority in the House. The number of seats to win the majority is 218, and it looks like there are still a few seats out there that are running. And the cool part about this, and at least this is according to Google, I see a lot of pink, which means those are Republican-led states or Republican-led districts. In California, nonetheless. What's really ironic is when you look at the map, and I'll try to shoot a screenshot over because I'm using Apple now. I just switched over to Apple. That's why I didn't have an episode yesterday. So I'm still learning the software. But if you look at the colors of the map, the colors indicate, basically red and blue, where they show who won, whether the Republican won or the Democratic won. You'll see more red than blue. And you'll see that it is primarily in coastal areas. You've got California, I should say on the outline part, with the exception of the Wisconsin area. Wisconsin, Illinois, Chicago area. Basically, or I'll put it this way, it's primarily in the metropolitan areas. Those are the areas that are Democratic run. What if, what do you think would happen if each state changed their electoral vote system to give the winner of their state on the presidential side how do you think it would be? What do you think would happen if the electoral system was changed? And each state changes their own, dictates how they run their own. But what do you think would happen if each state would give their electoral college votes to the candidate who won in the most congressional districts? It's a lot of red out there. Texas is practically all red when it comes to congressional districts, with the exception of, obviously, Houston, Austin, Dallas. Fort Worth is red, and it's right next to Dallas, and you've got some in the Valley area. California, you've got the coast. Everywhere except for the coast is red. New York, where Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez, the northern part of New York, with the exception of Rochester, that whole that whole area is red, except for New York City. New England is primary blue. You've got a lot of Democrats there, and it's you looking at it. It's kind of where the big businesses are. Why? Why would an area of big business be primarily blue? Could it be because those big businesses and special interest groups in that big business are big donors? And at the end of the day, they are the policymakers, not the Democratic Party. It could be. I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. I've done some looking into this, just enough to be dangerous. Why would a state give their vote to someone who only won a city, or maybe two cities, like an entire state, Reno in Nevada, are hinged off of that? Why? What that's saying is the person. Well, I'll use Texas as an example. That says that the person in Amarillo, their vote isn't worth as much as a person in Houston. That's saying that the person in Augusta or Savannah, Georgia, doesn't have as much say as a person in Atlanta. It's a popularity contest nowadays, and that's just how it is. People say do away with the Electoral College, and if we do that, that exact scenario is happening. The person in Savannah, or actually even in that case, the person in Atlanta doesn't have as much voice as a person in Houston. All you would need to pander to would be New York, California, Texas, Florida, and Illinois. Those 5 states. You win those 5 states without an electoral college system, you win the presidential elections. It's unfair. All you have to do is campaign in those states, and all you would have to do is do what they ask. Keep their elections. Now, I really do think in this whole system, this whole election cycle, the Democratic Party has really and truly shown, as in, shine bright like a diamond. They really shown in their campaigning, because they've been campaigning for about 4 years now. They've been campaigning with the fake impeachment trial, trying to get Donald Trump out of the presidency, because Mike Pence, I don't think he would have been strong enough to run an election by himself if he was president. I don't think so. So they try to, chop off the head, as they should. Then I still, and I know this is conspiracy theory to the max. I understand that. I still think the coronavirus had a lot to do with it. I think it's a pandemic. I think Trump is getting a lot of the blame for stuff that the states are supposed to be doing. Under the 10th Amendment, and let me find that for y'all real quick. Under the 10th Amendment, the powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution, nor prohibited by it to the free states, are reserved to the states respectively, or to the people. There's nothing at all in the Constitution about pandemics. There isn't. So Donald Trump is taking a lot of the blame for what the states are technically supposed to have been doing, and they have been doing that. Now he's been offering help where he can and where the states will accept it, but it wasn't all his fault. Part of it, I think, it was magnified by the Democratic Party. We all know the whole did you die with COVID or because of COVID thing, where even a person that died in a motorcycle accident was ruled a COVID death, where people who did not take a test got positive test results. People have come to me that happened to them personally. It's happened in Florida. States have been supposed to be taking care of their own because this is not in the Constitution. Donald Trump has tried to offer help, and when the states let him, he's helped them. New York, California, he sent a whole Navy ship out there to New York that was converted into to be a mobile hospital unit, and it wasn't used. But you have states like North Dakota didn't shut down; they're doing fine. You've got other states that didn't shut down, that are more on the red side, red or the right. They're doing fine. The states that are the worst off are the states that have their economy shut down and locked down. And Texas is getting close. Texas is getting real close. And Abbott, and Governor Abbott kind of sees this because he knows the bulk of his votes come from the big cities, Houston, Austin, Dallas. And he has to kind of see what they want. And I get it. He's got to pander to the big cities more so than the little cities because they have the more votes. You've got 4 million people in Houston alone, a couple million in Austin. That's 6 million votes that he could lose if he were to say, no, let's stay open. And those are highly, highly Democratic areas, especially with the influx of people that came over from California to Austin and decided to California or Texas. They've done it. It sucks. Austin isn't Texas. I'm sorry, it's not. People I love live in Austin. They don't live in Texas. They come visit Texas every now and then. Houston isn't Texas. It's not. It's not the Texas I know. Around Houston is. My little town of Alvin is very Texas. I step outside and I'll see an alligator every now and then. Hear some gunshots from somebody and know that it's somebody shooting an animal and not a person. Sometimes I get rambling on these and I totally forget the whole point, kind of like what happened now. But let's go back to the results. The victim of the results. It's us. It's the people. The only way we can fix this is if we make noise. We're going to have to. And I'm not talking about going out there setting crap on fire, that kind of noise. No, I'm talking about we've got to be heard. If you want the integrity of our electoral system restored, contact your local and state officials. It's got to start at the state level. This whole federal crap, this whole crap that's going on at the federal government, it's a bunch of BS. Bunch of it. It's huge, steaming pile of that. Huge. We got to fix it at the state levels. Because not only am I affected by it, if I'm affected by it, you're affected by it. A whole people group is affected by it. Now you've got people versus people. Wow, that sounds biblical. Ethnos versus ethnos, or nation against nation. We are one nation, but we are split into two right now. It's crazy, guys. It's crazy. But the way we could fix this, if it's going to be fixed, is we got to start small. We got to start small. Big change doesn't happen overnight. It's like the saying, the overnight success takes 10 years. And yes, this may take 10 years to do. But are you willing to start now for your future and your kids' future? The way you do it. And it's a way that I actually petitioned to Governor Greg Abbott on the term limits thing. That's one thing. That's the first thing we got to do. Start with term limits. The way we got to start with term limits is it's got to be done at the state level. No sitting member of Congress or Senate will vote to fire themselves. Al Green is going to be in there 18 years now. He's not going to fire himself. Sheila Jackson Lee, I don't know how many years. I think she's in there longer than he's been, but She's not going to fire himself. They both won their elections by more than 70,000 votes in one little district. A district that primarily voted had 50,000 votes in there. They won by more than 70,000 votes. Al Green had 90,000 votes, and his opponent had 20,000. While I totally am kind of, it warms my heart that people are going out there to vote, why are we keeping these people in office for so long? Here's what's going to happen. And I understand, you may want the guy in office. If you do, great. Congratulations, your candidate won. I didn't. But he's vested. He could quit, resign, get fired. He could lose the next elections. He is still going to be making over $175,000 a year off of your dime and my dime. We're still paying for him. And he doesn't do much. The last year of, he does this once a year. Once every other year, I should say, during election year. He'll go out, make some public appearances. Looks like he's doing something, but the rest of the time he's over there chilling, not doing much. He'll raise his hand or say no or hold up a sign that says 431 days, stuff like that, and that's it. Why are we keeping these guys in office for so long? Do they still represent you? I'm talking about you. You. Do they still represent you? Do they still represent the people? Do they still represent the black people, the white people, the Latinos? If they represent the black people, great. But do they also represent the white people? Do they also represent Latinos and Asians? Indigenous? Do they? Or do they just try to go to their one culture, whichever culture that is, to try to make themselves look good for their culture so they can get their people out to go vote? Houston's very diverse. You could win a race with one people group. They're going to be in office until we get them out. And even when we get them out, they're still going to get paid. So I think that we need to start with the term limits by going to the state level. We do that at let's say we do it in Texas. Texas has a lot of influence. Florida may pick up on it. Louisiana, Oklahoma. What do we have there now? We have a movement. The more states that jump on, the more states have power to make it a federal change. It's not just a state at that point in time anymore. Now it's a federal level. What I think we need to do to start terms is not wait, start term limits is not wait for the congressmen and women out there to do it now. I think we need to do it. We need to contact our local officials. Maybe I don't have a voice that's big enough. I mean, heck, I've only got 513 subscribers on YouTube. By the way, like and subscribe. But I think if we were to go to our city council, for example, hey, can you propose this to the state legislature? You've got more power than I do. And if they won't do it, get them out. Start with your neighborhood. Get enough people in your neighborhood to sign a petition to send to your city council for them to propose to the state legislature or to the governor Abbott or to the governor. Somebody somewhere's got to listen eventually, and it's got to start locally. We get our local people to do it. And if they won't do it, get them out in the next election. Then get somebody that will do it. I'll do it. In fact, I'm going to write another petition. As soon as we get the results here, I'm going to write another petition to do so. Double checking is still no change in the results. So, at the end of the day, whoever the president is, I wish them well. I wish that they're able to complete their term. I wish that they look at the people that they say that they're representing and represent their people. Fight for their people. Keep oil. Develop green energy, but keep the oil until such time as we can become energy independent on solely green energy. Then maybe phase out the fossil fuels. Let people that are in the oil fields right now transition to green energy jobs that are equally paying. So this is a call to the people, not to the officials, to the people, to the unelected officials, to the unelected people that are the citizens of the United States of America, citizens of Texas, California, Florida, Washington, New York, each and every one of the 50 states and Puerto Rico. Everybody. No matter who wins or loses, no matter who challenges the election results, no matter the outcome of that challenge, if your candidate ultimately wins or if your candidate ultimately loses, please accept that. If Donald Trump wins, he's out the next term. He doesn't have a way to go anymore. If Joe Biden wins, he's got some big promises to fulfill. We still need to hold them both accountable. We still need to be decent human beings. All of this rioting crap, this violence, when were we ever about that as a country? Oh, the Civil War back in the 1800s because of slavery? Nobody's a slave now. Nobody deserves hate. Nobody deserves to be punched for no reason, for expressing their opinions, for wearing a shirt. Nobody deserves to have their businesses destroyed because you didn't get what you want. And this is on both sides. Both sides. Not just one, both sides. We need a thicker skin as a people. Because if somebody calls me a dumbass, or that's what I do. We need to do more of that too. We need to stop being wusses. There's a saying that goes, tough times make tough people. Tough people make easy times. Easy times make wimpy people. Wimpy people make tough times. I think we're in that time right now where wimpy people are making tough times. We're making it harder on ourselves. I think we need to do a self-evaluation and we need to find that inner strength to be able to accept that I came in last place. I don't get a trophy. There's a lot of stuff going out there, guys. A lot of stuff. Everybody, be safe. Have protection if you need, but be safe. Like Mr. Miyagi says, karate for self-defense only. Don't go out there and start antagonizing people. It benefits no one. No matter who you are, no matter which side of the aisle you lean towards, antagonizing somebody does no benefit. None at all. It makes you a piece of shit. That's all it does. So go out there, guys. Spread love. Do a little dance. Make a little love. Get down tonight. My name is Andrew Alvarez, and I'm the Latino Conservative.